Today we have the versatile artist Sandeep Narayan with us.
Sagari magari zani saga ga 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 Sagari magari zani sagari mama mama. Just now, what a question. Really have not done an interview like this. And then it keeps going from there. Love it.
A non-musical thing that helps with your music.
Food.
Hello to the followers of the Score magazine. I'm Sneha and joined with me is Pragash. And today we have the versatile artist Sandeep Narayan with us, and we're going to have an exciting chat with him about everything related to his musical journey. Hi Sandeep, nice to have you here today.
Hi, good to be here. Thank you. Thank you both for having me.
Pleasure. How are you today?
Doing pretty good so far. How about you?
Great.
Good. Good.
You've had a very early start. Tell us any of your cherished memories.
Yeah, I mean, I actually started sort of formal training of music when I was just 4 years old from my mother, Srimati Shubha Narayan in Los Angeles. The thing is, though, I say formal because even before that, I used to sit in my mom's classes when she was teaching. So she has a big music school in Los Angeles even today, Sampradaya School of Music. So that's been there for about 40 years. And I used to sit on her lap and just be in the room when she was teaching other classes. So what actually happened was one day I started humming when I was just about 3 or 4 years old. I was humming the Geetam, or the song that she was teaching her students. And so because of that, my parents realized that it was sort of going into my brain, and they thought, okay, maybe we should actually start teaching him. Mm-hmm. So at just about 4.5 years old, I actually sat down for my first class with my mom, and actually started, yeah, pretty early.
Yeah.
And then probably sang for like the local, community Tyagaraja Aradhanas and Muthuswami Dikshidhar celebrations. Maybe 4 or 5 years later, by the time, I was 7 or 8, I was kind of participating in those.
Wow.
And so very, very early introduction to music. Because my brothers, I have 2 older brothers, and they were also learning music already by that time. And my father was very involved in organizing concerts. So my exposure was really from the womb. I mean, literally, I was exposed to Carnatic music from, the day I was born. or even before that. And like I said, it was that informal exposure, then it became actual formal training. And I have, of course, how much do you remember of when you're 4 years old? But some vague, foggy recollections of going into the classes and sitting in my mom's classes, even if I was not learning. Or if I would not come for class, then when she has a class, she'll say, just join that class and I'll jump in and just learn whatever that group is learning that day. And so it was like this for several years, the early years with my mom.
Wow. Do you remember your first on-stage performance?
My first on stage, well, like for singing for like Tyagaraja Day was the first time that I was on stage. Not a concert, but just the one song. And I sang Raminchuva Revarura. Raminchuva Revarura Ragutama Ninuvina. I don't remember exactly how old I was. I have to ask my parents, but I think I was maybe just 7 years old or something like that.
Wow, that is pretty young.
Yeah,
and
6 or 7.
Were you nervous on stage?
At that age?
At that age, yeah.
Probably not. When you're that age, you have no fear. You just you go and do something, and you don't even know, is it right, wrong, good, bad? You just have that confidence.
Nothing,
Only later on in life you start to get self-conscious about everything you do.
It's actually very
And
true.
you worry about, are you sitting okay? And is everything comfortable? I mean, that's how it is now a little bit more, right? Even with performances. Of course, now I've reached a certain comfort. But at that age, you just do anything. You have no fear. That's the time to do those things.
So true. So true. So your recent EP, Arul, I mean, we absolutely love it, and our favorite track from that is Tradition.
Okay, thanks.
So, could you take us through the creative process of how this came about, and a little bit more about this EP?
Yeah, absolutely. So the EP Arul is basically sort of it's a collaboration between myself and a producer named Janssen, based out of Toronto.
Okay.
He's also a mridangam artist, so he also has a lot of exposure to Carnatic music. And we kind of wanted to do something taking Carnatic music, which we are both so rooted in and so fond of, but to sort of bring it to a wider audience and mix in a lot of those Western influences that we also have been exposed to growing up, both being North American kids. So he has a lot of background, a stronger background in hip hop and Afro beats and house music, and which are all things that I've listened to but not worked with much. So what happened was kind of early in the pandemic, we just got in touch. We've actually known each other for a very long time. 15 years ago, we worked on a Carnatic recording when he had visited Chennai for one of the summer vacations. We recorded something together, like a 1-hour recording. That was purely Carnatic. And then we were in touch on and off over the years, but we hadn't worked on anything. And I had followed a lot of his work. So probably leading into the pandemic, I was seeing so much of his work coming out on YouTube and social media. And then I just messaged him one day and I was like, especially during the pandemic time, it was a lot of kind of recording things and sending things to other musicians, working from home. A lot of virtual work was going on.
Yeah.
So I just messaged him and I said, hey, do you want to do something? Now is the time when we're probably all just sitting around looking for something to do. And he almost immediately sent me some tracks. The first track he sent me is What Is Now Tradition. So that was the very first stem that he sent me, and he said, this is something I'm working on, and you want to just try to sing something over it. And I heard it, and he immediately said, maybe you can try Manavyala Kimchara if that works, or you can try something else. And I tried it, and it fit really well, and he liked it. And then from there we had I probably just did 1 or 2 takes, but then after that, he cuts it up and he works his magic with that. And that's where the producer really does so much behind the scenes.
I don't really know how many times I would have listened to Tradition.
Awesome.
I really loved it.
I think the first sort of layer of audience that it really hit was a lot of the North American kids who had learned Carnatic music as children. So they had some base, but probably as they grew up, they didn't go into the deeper aspects of it. And we had so many people like that come out to our launch event in Toronto earlier this year. And so many people have messaged saying, oh my God, this has kind of like rekindled that love and that interest for Carnatic music that they had.
Do you think Fusion does that?
I think that, Fusion definitely can do that. I think any form that we can sort of repackage the basics and the fundamentals of our music can kind of, it strikes a chord with different people, right? So we're all just trying to see what works. Something that we believe in that works for us musically, it may not be that popular. And then something which we don't love that much may suddenly go viral. You never know. That's kind of the world we live in. And but that's just how it is. But this was something that we both really were passionate about. And as it came together, we kind of got even more confident about what it was. We kind of became more clear about what it was. We kind of started to put more of our ideas and creativity. And as soon as it came out, we were so nervous because it's something that we worked on really from the beginning of the pandemic, but it just kind of kept getting delayed, that release, how we were going to finally put it out there. So when we finally did it, we were a little nervous how it was going to go, but it's been really, really well received. Knock on wood for that. I don't want to jinx anything. So far, it's going really well, and the response has been fantastic.
So we are going to do a tech talk. We're going to basically talk about, you're going to talk about the gadgets that you use.
Okay.
So 3 gadgets that you cannot live without.
Just in my daily life?
Yeah.
Anything, including
For music.
There you go. I was going to say definitely phone, but that's probably even for music phone, probably actually because I have a tanpura on there, I've got lyrics on there, I've got so much. Probably phone is number 1.
Yeah.
Probably my earbuds, the headphones that I travel with, because I listen to a lot of music and that's how I learn a lot. So those are probably 2 things that are music related. And speakers. Probably my speakers for tanpura so that I can practice, I can sing my concerts.
What speakers do you use?
I've gone through a wide variety, but I used to use Bose speakers. Now I've just switched to JBL Flip 6. Nice. It's my latest.
Awesome. Being a singer, which is your go-to mic on stage and also in a recording studio?
Studios, it changes because it depends on that studio setup, the engineer, what they're comfortable with. I never specify anything for studio recordings. I always go with what that engineer or that producer prefers, because they have to work on it, and they have their preferences. So I'm cool with that. On the stage, I used to use a Sennheiser E945, I think was the model. I've just now changed it to a MD4 something. 435, 465 something. It's like the next level of mic. It's a mic that can capture me as I move, because I move a lot when I sing. I don't sing straight into the mic. So I specifically was recommended this mic by an engineer in Los Angeles who said for my style, moving around, looking at the violin, mridangam, it picks up. So I've just changed to that mic on stage.
Interesting. 3 studios you loved recording.
Okay, is that the end? Or are you going to add, and 3 studios you hate? Because if you say, I can't say that, I'll be in trouble.
Okay, now that you say that, just say.
No, I can't say that. I've recorded a lot of things in, there's a studio in Coimbatore in Isha Yoga Center. And so, especially during the lockdown time when they weren't using it much, and I was there for some time, I used the studio there for the Sounds of Isha studio. I like that because they have good equipment and engineers are all people I know, so it works out, it's comfortable. Here in Chennai, I've recorded a lot, probably at 2 studios the most. One is Offbeat and the other probably Jam Dub. Those guys are really good, especially when it comes to Carnatic. They had that sensibility that, they kind of know how to balance it. So, and they have good equipment and good engineers.
Awesome.
Yeah. So any embarrassing moment or fun moment because the gadgets didn't work?
Oh, just now, what a question. I was singing in Hyderabad just 2 weeks ago, and I turn on the speaker for the concert and it's flashing red, low battery, and I'm like, okay, hopefully it lasts this concert and then I'll go charge it. I have the charging cable, so it's not I'm thinking it's fine. Halfway through the concert, and I had already started singing, so then I didn't want to pull out the cable and all that. I said, okay, hopefully it'll last the concert, let's see. I'm singing the concert, and halfway through, it just turns off. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. So then I get the cable out, I put the cable in, it's not charging. I'm like, what's happening? And I'm, fiddling with the cable and something. And I'm, I think it happened in between a piece, luckily. So I was able to kind of do something. And I'm messing around with it, and it's charging and stops charging, charging and stops charging. And I'm just like, oh my God. And we had a live tambura, so the tambura was there. I just said, get me a microphone for the tambura, and I sang the rest of the concert. But a little bit of panic, 5-minute delay happened because of a tech failure. I finished the concert and I ordered a new speaker. Now that was a different one, and now I've switched to the JBL Flip 6, which is charging perfectly fine. Yeah, don't know, that's a tech fail.
Now we're going to give you a raga, and we want you to depict a couple of emotions within the same raga.
Oh, same ragam, okay.
So the first one would be Charukesi.
Charukesi, okay. Do you want me to tell you the emotions, or you want to just feel it? I'll do.
Yes, that will be
Okay. So I always feel that Charukesi can be sort of somber, sad, even depending on how it's portrayed, but I've also kind of done it more lively. So I'll do the first more little somber and sad. But if it's sung a little bit higher and faster, you can make it more peppy and kind of bright. Pada pa ma ga ma pa da ni za da pa ga ma pa da ni 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 da da ni da da ni da da pa pa ma ga ma pa da ni za pa da ni za ri ga ga sa ri ga ma ga ri za da ni za ri ma ga ga sa ri ma ga ni za ga ri da ni ma ga za ga ri ni za da za ni ba ni da ma da pa ga pa ma ri ma ga ri za da ni za ri ga ma pa da ni za ri ra na 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 la la la. can be very bright and refreshing also. And that's the same ragam. Both what I sang was the same ragam.
Should we do the same with the raga Nilambari?
Yeah, Nilambari is a ragam which is always used for lullabies. So it's typically thought of as a sleepy ragam, or it'll make you sleepy, and it's very lilting and that. But then some few years back, there was a piece which we presented in the Mahashivratri stage in Coimbatore, and it was composed in Nilambari, and I was presented with that composition, and they said, can you do some fast improvisations? I said, fast? Usually we put people to sleep with this, and Mahashivratri, the whole point is you want people to stay awake the whole night. I was so worried, but we ended up having the opposite effect. We kept everybody like awake, dancing, and that track has also done really well in the public since, and people say people tell me they wake up and listen to that first thing in the morning, so it's not so I'll first give you the kind of more typical version of Nilambari, which is kind of thought as like lullaby. Sa 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 ri ga ma pa pa ni pa ma ga ma pa ma ga ri ga ma ga ri sa ri ga ma ga ri ga sa 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 ri ga ma pa pa ni pa ma ga ma pa ma ga ri ga ma ga ri sa ri ga ma ga ri ga sa ga ma pa pa ba ba pa ba ba ma ma ba 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 ga ma pa ni ba ni ba ma ga ma pa da ni ba da ma da ba ma ga ri ga ma pa ni ba sa ni ba ga ma pa ri sa ni ba ga ma pa ga ri ni ba ni ba ma ga ri sa ni sa 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 ri ga ma pa ni ba ma ga ma pa ma ga ri ga ma pa ma ga ri ga ma pa ma ga ri ga ma ga sa. Same ragam. It's just how you present it, how you kind of structure what you're doing. The same notes, though, it can have such a different emotion to it, for sure.
Such a soulful singer.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
A non-musical thing that helps with your music.
Food.
I thought as much. I knew this coming.
Non-musical thing that helps with my music. Diet. Honestly, diet and exercise probably. I've started exercising again because, if I'm going to eat like this, I need to exercise. But health for sure, like honestly, stamina, which I think is, I go to the gym and I do try to exercise now. So it builds my stamina, my lung capacity. And then what I eat and drink makes a huge, huge difference. Kind of avoid spicy, oily stuff for my throat, drink more of warm things, honey, stuff like that for my allergies and throat. I think those are definitely things that can really very much directly affect my music as well.
Yeah.
So we have the chef bringing in some amazing dessert.
This is, so far it's been amazing.
Wow, interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, one concert in history that you truly wish you could have attended.
One concert in history. Carnatic, Indian, or any?
Anything. Doesn't matter.
Interesting. Wow, there's probably a few. I think if we can talk, okay, you only want one. I've already got like four in my mind. Can I say the four?
Sure.
Yeah.
So in Carnatic, there's a Shamangudi Srinivasa Iyer concert that's called the Airport Concert because it happened near the airport, and it's a legendary concert, and we've heard that recording hundreds of times. I wish I could have been there for that concert. And then there's a recording of Bhimsen Joshi ji singing in a chamber concert, and that video has gone around where he's just unbelievably in the zone, and I wish that I could have been a person in that room to just witness him. I've never seen him live. if I could have been in that proximity. That's probably the second person. I really wish I could have gone to like a Michael Jackson concert back in like the 90s when he was kind of at his peak.
Yeah.
Wish.
Yeah.
And now when you see like those videos that they release of like the behind the scenes stuff, you're like, man, that is like artist is like true artist. You just, that's unbelievable.
Legend.
And then probably the fourth one is maybe Simon and Garfunkel live at Central Park. That's a recording that I've heard a lot too. And that was like a very famous concert that happened live at Central Park in New York. These four, I think the list just keeps going. As I'm saying it, I'm thinking more, I wish I could have heard like Queen perform live. You know, I'm a big Freddie Mercury fan. The list is endless. I think we have to go to the next. I can't answer that rapidly at all. Sorry. I don't know how to do that one rapid. It's too many.
True. A song that you would secretly hum, but you wouldn't want to perform.
Secretly hum, but not perform. So Carnatic then, I guess you're saying, because I only would be performing Carnatic these days at least. Oh, this is going to get me in trouble because there's songs that I get requested all the time that I refuse to sing.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, really going to get me in trouble when people see this. I hum stuff like even like Bhaja Govindam, but I never sing this in concerts. I don't even know it. It's just something that you've heard so many times.
Yeah.
The other one that I'll probably, maybe I hum a lot that I don't sing in concerts as much as people would like is Yana Panalava, which I get requested a lot, but because I get requested so much, I actually don't sing it.
Want to like, you know.
Yeah, I actually don't sing it.
I actually want to say it because one of my favorites of you performing in Coimbatore for the Mahashivratri is Yana Panalava.
Okay.
So
it's not that I won't perform that one, it's that it was with a certain energy and a certain band, so people always have that in mind when they ask me, and to recreate that is difficult. And so I always tell people, you know, I don't want to disappoint you, but I have started performing it now and then. So let's see, it's not a never.
If you could do it with a certain artist, who would it be?
There's so many. See, again, you're asking me you're asking me questions like this. How can I pin? I can't. You know, it's impossible to narrow down to one. There's artists that I grew up listening to, especially in India. Like I won't even say that they're not all even Carnatic artists. Like a lot of them from the film genre, but who shaped my music in many different ways. See, Carnatic wise, there's a long list. We can say all the legends, and I wish that I could sing with them is just to have that experience, an almost bucket list. But probably in today's world, I'm like a really, really big fan, sort of a closet fan of like Shankar Mahadevan and Hariharanji, and those two artists probably like, those two are like top of my list. Just so much about their presentation, their vocal abilities, their classicism in what they do, because they're both classically trained. I think those are two incredible artists. I know you said one. I could only narrow it down to two. Even that was very difficult for me.
One common misconception about Carnatic music that you would like to change?
Oh, that I'd like to change. I think the biggest misconception that I have come across is that somehow Carnatic music is not or could not be for everybody, or for a wider audience, that somehow it's very difficult to access, that it's only for some niche, sort of like niche audience, small community or group. Maybe that's what it has become to some extent, but I don't believe that that's what it needs to be, or that's what it should be, or that's what it is going to be. I think that there are steps being taken to kind of widen that audience and make it more accessible. We probably need to move more in that direction and take more steps. The technical aspects, yes, it can be quite complicated. Not everybody's going to understand everything, but just to appreciate it, to some extent, some percentage of Carnatic music, I think it's definitely possible by a much, much larger audience. If we can start to kind of change the ecosystem, change the structure, the infrastructure behind it in a way that becomes more accessible to more people and expose them to this wonderful, part of our heritage, part of our culture, this art form.
Nice.
Beautiful.
That was very well said.
Yeah, very well said.
Thank you.
And,
Please enjoy your...
Please, we'll...
No more questions?
Yeah.
Lunchtime. Here we go. This is definitely one of the better interviews I've ever done. I hope whatever I've spoken is okay, but I think you've certainly treated me quite well. I would definitely say this is one of the most unforgettable interviews, for sure.
Glad to
Thank you.
I hope you actually went.
I don't know if you guys do every interview like
We
this.
definitely didn't try for the food though.
Yeah. Yeah, the interview is already done, and now the lunch is happening at the end, so we know that it wasn't the other way around.
I know, right?
We touched his heart through good food.
Through my stomach.
Yeah.
No, this has definitely been a lot of fun, and I really have not done an interview like this. Been a very, very fun day spent with you guys. So thank you.
Even actually a very important.